Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So when I used to play chess, I used to play at the barbershop. I used to play tournament chess too, but when I used to play in the barbershop, we used to have a lot of guys who would sit around and, pick up games. There's a saying where you can pretty much see everything from the side of the board. Two guys are playing, you're sitting on the side, you're analyzing the game. Now, the guys in the game have certain pressures associated with what they're doing. So this guy may be hungry. This guy may be tired. This other guy may be worried about making a bad move. He may be worried about losing because they're going to joke him if he loses. It could be all sorts of things that the pressures that people are under, that you do not feel or encounter when you're sitting on the side of the board. The point I'm getting at is, I'm going to show you something from a third-person perspective that is probably the most terrifyingly pathetic thing that you've seen up to this point this year. And I'm showing it for a point. Let's take a look at it first. Tom Perez won the DNC chair yesterday. In winning the chair, he made Keith Ellison his deputy, whatever that is. Let's take a look at the reaction.
The motion passes. Congressman, the floor is yours.
Deputy chair. That means nothing. You understand? That means nothing.
They were excited. They took what was absolutely theater as being reality. And she's like, deputy chair! And then Mika Khan's is breaking into her like, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. That doesn't have any power. That's just something they crafted. That's sad. I mean, honestly, it is. Look, when you're on somebody's wavelength, the things that they're saying to you seem legitimate. Like in the same way it's like a Republican says something, you pretty much discount them off the bat, or at the very least, listen to it with a certain amount of skepticism. In her case, she's seeing her party do something, and she's taking it completely at face value, uncritically. That the thing that she witnessed is what took place. Yes, they made Keith Ellison his deputy, but that doesn't mean anything. That's a position they made up. Now, the question, or the operative question, is why, right? Why would they all of a sudden create a weird position called deputy? I mean, what would be the point of that? Keith Ellison's credibility, for the most part, is intact. What I mean is, Keith Ellison was one of the first few people who supported Sanders. He was one of the first few Democrats that supported Sanders. Progressives know this. Elites in the Democratic Party know this. Everybody knows this. So, to some degree, putting him there like that, it's almost like money laundering. It's like you're laundering the reputation of the politician, or for that matter, the party. You're saying Keith Ellison has a certain amount of credibility because Keith Ellison is tied to Bernie Sanders from the primaries. With him being tied, by putting them two side by side, we are allowed to have a face of a progressive, per se, while keeping the beating heart of the organization status quo. Continuity on the inside, change on the out. That's literally what it is. Keith Ellison's job is to be a sheepdog. The party full well understands that, look, they're trying to co-opt the movement. I mean, all of the people that's been freaking out, that's been rioting, setting things on fire, protesting, marching. It's a reason why they're using those words, unity, and our shared values. All these things that weren't part of their talking points beforehand. These are new talking points. So when they're talking about unity, shared values, they're making this thing of we're in it together. We're standing by all of these groups. We gotta resist Trump. All this stuff. They're trying to co-opt the movement, or co-opt the resistance in that sense. Keith Ellison gives them a certain amount of credibility to stand in front of those people and behave as if they are the resistance. Sanders does the same thing. Elizabeth Warren, same thing. There's a reason why these guys are out and about in the face of the party right now. They're trying to pull people back in. They're trying to co-opt it. This is literally Keith Ellison's Colin Powell moment. Do you remember when Colin Powell, no one in the Bush administration was trusted for the most part. Everybody knew Bush was full of shit and not the brightest man on the planet. When they were making the case that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, do you remember Colin Powell went to the UN and he gave this, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it was this testimony of sorts, or this presenting of information. Now, Colin Powell had an 80% approval rating, meaning everybody loved him, regardless of your political allegiance. So, him making that argument carries a certain amount of credibility that none of those other guys could muster. So, Colin Powell is in the UN. Colin Powell is saying they're weapons of mass destruction. Colin Powell is liked, and he gets the benefit of the doubt. Colin Powell did not know what the hell he was talking about. They set him up. Look, either they set him up or he lied. Either way, he gave grossly false and misleading testimony. And I would imagine that he's probably still pissed to this day. I heard the guy who used to work with him, I think his name was Wilkerson, they set him up. What I'm getting at is Keith Ellison is being a willing participant in the same thing. They're setting him up to be the face of something, while the continuity that's going on behind the scenes hasn't changed. There's no there. This is optics. This doesn't mean anything. The saddest part is that those women thought this was absolutely legitimate. They thought completely. They thought it was legitimate. You know, the saddest part of this is when we were looking at this from a third-person perspective, we're probably sitting like, oh man, that's brutal. Like, how can they believe that? But understand, that's us too. That was us at one point. Think back to the last time where you believed what they said. You know, did you believe that he did not have sexual relations with that woman? Did you believe that NAFTA was going to create all these jobs in a big boom? Did you believe the Wall Street reform was going to somehow magically create money that trickles down to everybody else? Did you believe him when he said he was going to put through the public option? What about Guantanamo? Did you believe hope and change, for that matter? What I'm getting at is, one case after another, we've listened to these guys just spout all sorts of stuff without ever really holding them accountable to the things they're spouting. And then, at the same token, taking them as credible. That's sad. We were that sad at some point. We may be that sad again at some point. Be critical. Be skeptical. Do not take the things that these guys are doing on face value. It's politics. They call it political theater for a reason. There's one last piece to this that's actually really fascinating that we need to see.
None of these positions have any official role except for chair and treasurer. That is what we've learned through this process.
Look at her face.
They didn't record the vote.
She looked like she's going to cry.
The DNC bylaws state that the vote needs to be recorded, and they announced that they were not recording the vote. Oh, they did it ahead of time. They announced it to everybody.
That woman looked like she was going to cry. She was so excited. She was like, oh my God, Keith Ellison, yes, the party is going to change. The party is trying to change. You know that position doesn't mean anything, right? She looked like she had tears in her eyes. She had been had again. She had been had again. It's sad. Namika Kant makes this point that they didn't record the vote, meaning they ignored some of their bylaws in this process. Do you remember when they did the same thing in Nevada, where they had like a roll call or something like that? They were trying to pass a motion. There were more Sanders supporters there. Those supporters were far louder, and yet they gave it to Hillary. When the Democrats want to, they turn a blind eye to the rules, just like any other party. Don't believe the hype. I feel sorry for those women. Don't be those women. Regard this party skeptically. Until this party changes, you should not support it. In fact, I wouldn't support it at all because I don't necessarily think it's capable of changing. They lost on an absolutely massive level. And the part you need to understand, I mean, people will ask the question like, wait a minute, why would Democrats intentionally continue in a way that's going to essentially give them a chance of losing? Democrats have, based on polling, they're, the things that they say is more acceptable to the public. Based on demographics, they should be crushing in one state after the next. They're not. They're not. There's a reason for that. It's a reason they don't necessarily want to talk about, but that reason exists. They are far more concerned. Put it this way, they would lose an election rather than have a situation where someone like Sanders takes over. They just will. The interest, the point is not necessarily to win. The point is to put through legislation that helps their wealthy donors. Their wealthy donors, they just want tax cuts. They want those particular things. Sanders would actively try to make changes in the country that would advantage the actual public. They're terrified of it. They're terrified. And even just Ellison, just even as a DNC chair, that's amazing. They spent this entire 2 months just talking to each other, lying to each other about what they believe they are, what their values are. It's an amazing thing when you see it and you're looking at it from a third person perspective and you're like, these guys are on drugs. It's like, what the hell is wrong with these people? They're lying through their teeth. They know they're lying. And then to come out with something like this and pretend like we're giving Ellison some actual position of power. No, it's a sheepdog. He's a sheepdog. They're trying to co-opt movements. They're going to use Ellison's face to try to co-opt those movements to give themselves a little bit more credibility. That's what it boils down to. Yeah, guys. I told you before, this party needs to go. It needs to go. It's worthless. They can't even have a basic, honest, come to Jesus moment and recognize that what they were doing with regards to status quo didn't work. It didn't work. They lost everything on every level. It's not enough to make them change. So I would make the case to bail on this party, to not support a Democrat in general, and work towards creating a third party. That's my advice. All right, guys. Thank you.